All right, what's up, everybody, and happy She-Hulk Thursday. We are back with our Thursday live streams talking about the latest episode of this new show. And I am very excited to be here with you all to break it all down. We're talking, pros and cons and Easter eggs and where'd the Hulk go and Abomination. Do we like this new, Namaste personality and whatnot? And of course, all the MCU little Easter eggs and all that stuff that we found within this episode. But I don't do these alone, and I'm so excited to have one of my partners in crime returning on this Thursday chat to get their thoughts on this episode and also catch up with them, see what they've been up to, any good movies they've seen, shows, and of course breaking down this very episode. But hey, before we get into today's discussion, I want to thank everyone for watching this live. This is interactive, so throw your comments, your concerns, your thoughts, your theories in the chat. We we experimented with the call-ins last week, and I want to experiment it with doing that a little bit more a little bit later in the stream. So if you yourself want to throw in your 2 cents in the episode, call out any Easter eggs, call out any fan theories that you may have, we will allow you all to do that a little bit later in the stream. So definitely stick around for that. But hey, enough of me rambling. I'm so excited to have this individual back on the channel to talk about this episode and get their thoughts on, again, if it's another Marvel hit show or if it's starting off a little rough. Very excited to get their thoughts. And I'm talking about the one and only Amanda. What's going on?
I am so happy to be back. It's been a very long time. You've been so busy, E. You've been killing it, literally killing it. I've been watching you and you've just been doing amazing things. So it's just always an honor to be on the show with you.
Well, I appreciate that. And you've been busy yourself, just killing it with all the things you're doing with your articles, your YouTube channel, tweeting up the world, getting the world, having some conversations and all that stuff, as you always do. Just sparking the conversations. That's what I love to have you on, is to get the conversation going, Amanda.
Yeah.
And so, and also too, I mean, we've had Aman Vellani, we have Ryan Reynolds, we have Tatiana Maslany, and then you're Canada, you're representing. We have to have someone from Canada. They're taking over the MCU, and I couldn't think of anyone better to talk about the show with you.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking over. They're all great. They're all like rock stars. So I've been loving them integrating into the MCU. It's been awesome.
Takeover. It's the Canada Takeover MCU. That's what the C stands for in MCU, is Marvel Canada Universe. So Amanda, if this is someone's first time watching or hearing your thoughts on MCU projects or whatnot, why don't you let the people know who you are and when they can find your content?
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I have my website, cash.app, and I'm an entertainment journalist. I'm a film critic. I do a little bit of everything. You can find my reviews over at like geekbomb.net on Ready Steady Cut, and I also work with a team over at the Suit Up Geeks, and we have a lot of fun doing our movie drafts and just other cool reviews, stuff like that. So I'm everywhere. But yeah, coming back to E's channel has always been a real treat, and it's always been awesome. So you guys can find me at those locations and my YouTube channel, Candid Cinema.
Yes. Her links are in the bio, in the description of this video. Again, check her out. Again, she was the one that really kind of started the MCU with the Canada, getting everyone in Canada. I think she was the first starter. So you guys got to check her out. Amanda, again, it's been a minute, man. What besides, we'll get into She-Hulk and MCU talk, catch up with all that. But what you've been up to as far as other movies or shows has really been catching your attention lately?
Oh man, I had to like binge The Sandman because I had to cover it. So I watched it like 2 days before release. So I had to do like 10 eps and like
thoughts?
I was like, damn.
What'd you think about Sandman?
You know what? Neil Gaiman's always like, for me, he's very dense. His writing's really dense. It's so complex. It's so layered. It got me in the second half. Like I was really trying to like get into these characters. I felt like it was very overwhelming, but the world building is just absolutely incredible. And I think the imagery was like really strong. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It surprised me. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. Hey, Gumbo Geek. Hi, Caitlin. Hi, everyone. I really like that. As for movies, I was pleasantly surprised with Beast.
I was on the edge of my seat in that movie. I know some people were kind of being a little bit nitpicky. You didn't teach his own, but I had fun with that film, man. I really did.
So did I. I was like obsessed with Bullet Train for a little bit because of Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry. I need a prequel, spin-off, whatever we're doing, just Buddy Cop. I need the two of them. Yeah, what else have I watched? I don't know. Why am I drawing a blank all of a sudden? I'm trying to think of like
It's
everything
been
that was
the
released.
movies and stuff has been slowing down a little bit. Of course, House of the Dragon,
Yeah.
She-Hulk, but as far as
Yes.
movies go, it's been a little bit of a dry spell. I think
Yeah.
next month, the Olivia Wilde film. What is it?
Mhm. Don't
Darlene.
worry,
Don't
darling.
worry,
Yeah.
Darlene, and Barbarian,
Yeah.
and a couple other things coming. So it's been a bit of a dry spell.
Yeah.
But TV though, TV has been killing it lately, and it's been busy keeping up
Amazing.
with all those shows. I tell you.
I know there's so much to keep track of. And like us as content creators, we're trying to be like, we got to cover this, we got to cover this. And now they're all coming out at once. And you're like,
Yep.
what am I
What do I
doing?
do?
How
How
do
do
I
I do?
find the
Exactly.
time?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
Well,
but we can do it. We're superheroes. It's fine. We
exactly.
got this.
We're Jennifer Walters. We can put on our human hats and our superhero hats
Yeah.
and get all the content out for you all. But
Yeah.
listen, Amanda, we got this second episode here to talk about. And
Yeah.
first off, I know we didn't have you last week, and I know you have
Mhm.
your review of the first 4 episodes in your channel, and also your review of episode 1. But just briefly, how did you feel about episode 1, and then kind of going into the second episode? Your thoughts on all that stuff.
I feel bad saying it. Like I feel bad because I absolutely adore Tatiana Maslany. Like we've been saying, she's Canadian. How do I not like her? If you haven't, I'm going to say this. I've been saying it every single time. If you have not seen Orphan Black, please watch Orphan Black. She plays multiple characters in that show, and it's absolutely phenomenal work from her. If it wasn't for her and how strong she is, I don't think this show would be as good as it is. And I'm saying it's good.
Might agree with
I'm
you
not
there. Yeah.
like she's really pulling it together. I don't think the writing's that strong. The humor is not typical MCU humor.
Mm-hmm.
And I can excuse it up to a certain point. Like when I watched Ragnarok, I know I'm going to keep talking about Ragnarok
Your
with this,
favorite, right?
but yeah, and like that's the basis of like me gauging the humor here was like that was MCU humor, wasn't that bad. I still laughed, but it wasn't as like forced, I think, Ragnarok. But this, it's like they're really trying to force so many things to work and fall in line, and it's just not working for me. It feels very disjointed. Even with the fourth wall breaks, like I don't want to compare it to Deadpool, and obviously we had more time with Deadpool, but those fourth wall breaks have to be like more like closer together. You can't have a fourth wall at the beginning of the episode, the middle, and then at the end, or you forget about it entirely. Like you can't do that for me anyway. And it's not working. It's not funny for me. I've been rolling my eyes at the humor. I like it's bad. And that first episode, from what everyone has been saying, that's supposed to be like the 8th episode. And they moved it to be the premiere.
Origins. Yeah.
Right, which is like if we didn't know that, we wouldn't have really questioned why they put that as the first episode.
Right.
You know, but now that we know, it's kind of like, so then what's the 8th episode? Like what did they switch around? Like are all the episodes out of order? Like now we don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it's just a level of consistency and the humor sticking. Nothing is sticking the landing for me. I do love the fact that we are getting women's issues and the presenting women's issues in the workplace and socially. I think that is the strength here, and they're not playing into it. And that's where the humor comes in, and it's kind of overpowering those authentic women's issues that we can like explore with Jennifer Walters. I think it's more of like the butt of the joke than actually going through and like exploring her identity. I think that's what's really bothering me. And I'll get into like other things in regards to like how the Phase 4 shows have been working. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I'm underwhelmed.
And I was going to say, that's what it sounds like, a bit underwhelming. There's a lot that I agree with you there. And obviously we'll break it down a little bit later. But, I've come to kind of realize, Amanda, at this point in Marvel, they are definitely playing more into the goofier, more non-serious side of these characters. And granted, again, I haven't read the She-Hulk comics, but from everyone I know says it's just kind of pars the course. It's kind of comes with the territory. It's not as heavy-handed in regards to really diving deep into the characters. And who knows, we still got 7 more episodes this season really dive into her psychos and her mindset and the issues you brought up. But I definitely feel like Marvel is definitely playing more into, let's just have fun. Let's just be more I don't want to say family friendly, but let's just have the more comedic elements of these characters to be more into the forefront versus like you're mentioning, who is this character, the issues. And we'll talk in this episode, I think did a really interesting job of displaying the duality of the gift and the curse aspect of being a hero. She got fired for being a Hulk, but then she got hired to represent superheroes. So there's a up and down to it all. And also being a woman in the workplace, and a comment that I think his name is Brad, and like, oh, you only got the position, or you only getting this fame because of your hero, and obviously playing that to you only got this position because you're a beautiful woman, or you know how some misogynistic people put that spin on women in position of power. So as you mentioned, they're hinting at things, but then it seems like they want to pull back on it and not really, like you mentioned, dive into those conversations that could be had instead of playing to the joke more. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But again, we'll break it all down. But I completely understand your sentiments of just kind of feeling like it's a bit off. And I think 23-minute, 24-minute, 25-minute episodes doesn't help the case, because you're not able to really explore those elements that you were saying, that I agree that's missing out on this show. But there are some good things. There are the MCU Easter eggs, and as you mentioned, Tatiana is fantastic. I can watch anything that she's in, and she's really carrying the show, as you have mentioned. But listen, let's get into it. Let's break it down. And and I'm reading the comments too. A lot of people definitely agree with you. Some of the humor isn't working. The shorter episodes feel a little bit underwhelming. Episodes need to be longer. That seems to be a big thing. The humor and the length of the episodes is not seeming to be something that a lot of people are clicking with, and I definitely respect that. So let's break it down, Amanda. This second episode, we open it with a bit of the news cycle here, seeing that, and by the way, I love this kind of illustration of the cartoon and more kind of almost accurate comic book depiction of the character. But one thing I'm not liking, I'll be honest with you, Amanda, is the whole, and we see her friend Nikki taken to the bar, and She-Hulk, everyone's ramped up, excited, and happy for this hero. I'm confused with the MCU right now as far as the landscape of how people view heroes. They love them, they hate them. They love them, they hate them. We have Sokovia Accords. We have, people like Hayward and other people in position of power hating the heroes, and the humans love the heroes. It's the world. That's how humanity is. They love you one moment, they hate you the next. But I'm just very concerned with this idea of the heroes being so accepted, especially when X-Men come into the world, because they're hated. So I'm just very concerned about the world and how they depict the heroes, and how, again, it seems to be kind of, again, the waves of the love and hate relationship between these MCU heroes versus the reality of the situation. How do you feel about how they're handling this accepting of a new superhero, and everyone's a superhero now?
I feel like they're just picking and choosing who people would ultimately root for. Because like the way that Miss Marvel went viral, I think Fantastic Frankie tweeted this out. And I read the tweet, and I'm like, you know what? I completely agree with this. Is like the way Miss Marvel was presented, she went viral, and then like cops like automatically like raided the mosque that was present. And it's like they were completely against her. Like this is like Fantastic Frankie's the one that said this on Twitter. Like I saw it. So like shout out to her for even tweeting that out and catching that, because it's the truth. Because like now She-Hulk is like, oh yeah, She-Hulk's a baddie, we like her, and like she's gonna be the superhuman division. Yeah, she's a whole snack, and it's like, okay, we love her because she's strong, she looks like a Hulk, and it's familiar. We have to remember it's familiar. And if we're talking about familiarity in linking to the Hulk, Captain Marvel is also familiar. So having Miss Marvel with the same cosmic powers shouldn't have had that kind of effect. So I do think that they're picking and choosing who people would vibe with. And I think that's why it feels so forced with Jennifer Walters and trying to make her relatable. Yeah. Because honestly, you put Miss Marvel like before She-Hulk, and like you compare the shows. And I know that they're like different in their own way, but we're looking at these Marvel shows, and it's like Miss Marvel within the first 3 episodes had clear direction, was very stylized, and had the tone for Kamala Khan. I still have no idea what the hell we're doing with Jennifer Walters. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Yeah, it's a sitcom. There's a structure. Like I understand that, but it also doesn't feel like they know where they're going with this, and they're just going to throw everything into the show. And that's where I'm at. So yeah, going back to your original question, it's the fact that like there was no direction for phase 4. And I've been saying this for like since the beginning of WandaVision and Loki, and we have 3 different timelines that are like flowing into each other. Nothing is being addressed. And then that's why it feels like we're confused because we don't know where it's going. So that's where I'm at.
No, I hear you. And the lack of direction in MCU in phase 4, it shows in a show like this, because again, one of the things, as you mentioned, one of the backbones of this character, exploring what it's like to be a hero and someone that doesn't want to be a hero, someone that literally, even in this moment, you know, she's talking to Nikki and be like, I don't want to be an Avenger. In which, by the way, the pension, you know, what does it mean? You know, do they have, you know, time off and things like that, which we jokingly, we brought it up as far as Sam Wilson, you know, after he was brought back from the blip. I mean, my man had to get a loan and they were giving him, you know, crap about that. So it's very funny that at least one of the meta funny jokes that I like about this show is the self-awareness of the MCU and kind of playing into some of these jokes. And we'll talk about probably one of the funniest jokes that I've seen in the MCU, which is the appearance of Mark Ruffalo looking completely different than Edward Norton, which I love that that nod to the hat there. But in regards to this directionless, and it goes back to one of your complaints, like she's like, I don't want to be the Hulk. I don't want to be the Hulk, but she Hulk, and Nikki's kind of edging her on, and we didn't get a moment where she's like, no, Nikki, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be this kind of a pony show or this kind of turn on, turn off, and just kind of a superhero in the moment. Like, this is who I am as an individual, and now I'm just a trick for people. But no, we cut that tension with just kind of going right into the bar and just putting on the show and act and being She-Hulk and just kind of normalizing it. And also too, and this is like a small minor detail, but like the whole conversation of like when she's wearing spandex and now she can like change into any suit and her costume doesn't change at all. So it's just, I don't know, a little inconsistent there, but more or less, I don't feel like Jennifer Walters has had the moment to breathe in this reality that she's a Hulk now, and she's being told to put on a show for the people and show them your superhero side of it, versus like, no, I don't want to do that. I feel like that's a little bit a missed opportunity there to kind of really explore the character.
Yeah, and that's I feel the exact same way, because now, especially, I think I like this episode more than the first one, because like you said, we see that duality, and I feel like we can explore that later on. But I really don't think that that's where it's gonna go. Because if she's already accepting, like, I'm going to be She-Hulk, I got a job, I'm a lawyer now as She-Hulk, like I can do anything. And like with the other episodes, for me anyway, it doesn't feel like we're ever going to go deeper into that side of her, like her identity is broken, basically. She doesn't know which way to go. And I think that the comics, of course, they explore that a bit more. But how are you not diving into that after all of phase 4 is either about grief and grieving, or it's about literally like, self-discovery as a hero and coming into your own. They're not doing that with She-Hulk whatsoever. Like you said, she's like just magically She-Hulk. She's like, okay, let's like let this ride, that's fine. But the themes that are so present in phase 4, it's just not in this within the first 2 episodes. And any other MCU show within the first 2 episodes, within the premieres, you see that it's either one or the other, or even both. And this is not doing that.
Yeah. And Grant, and I know too, you've seen 2 more this, you've seen up to episode 4. So you can probably speak to more of it, maybe not addressing those things. But again, based on the 2 episodes and hopefully, and giving them a little bit more leeway, that they will maybe tie back around to, okay, listen, I'm tired of this. I don't want to put on this show and this act and pony show and to be a She-Hulk just because you all want me to be. I want to be my own person, and inevitably come into this kind of gift as well as a curse. But as of right now, as far as 2 episodes in, it just seems to be a little too convenient, and it seems just to be kind of like a little too easy in regards to this acceptance of this new role that she's going to be playing. And also, like I said, the world just being so accepting too, just seems a little bit too convenient. Because again, I'm going back to how the world perceives the Hulk. Now, obviously, since Endgame, he's a hero. He saved the world. He was the one that snapped, and we now have the Smart Hulk. But what happened to those other 10 years of the Hulk destroying places and cities and going to Wakanda or the borders of Wakanda and obviously setting the stage for Civil War and the Sokovia Accord? So there's still people out there that despise heroes. But again, 2 episodes in, I hope that when we see those court trials, those are people that's going to be like, no, we hate heroes. We don't want another Hulk. So we'll see where that goes. But in kind of getting into the bar scene, her boss approaches her. She turns back to Jennifer. And this is a moment where, again, I liked, even though it was kind of quick, I like how, okay, she lost her job because she saved people. She had to be a hero, but unfortunately it lost her job because she was kind of swaying the jury. She saved them. So as they said, it kind of made it seem like she was, they were persuaded to have them win the case. So I like that moment. And even more so, I like her being a human and losing her job and looking for a job. And I love this kind of cut scene where we see her starting off in, these high prestigious law firms, sorry. And then she goes eventually to like this slum, hole in a wall company. And this kind of shows you, again, it was brief, but it shows you, damn, it does kind of suck to be a hero when you don't want those responsibilities. So what did you think about, again, it was short, very short, because again, we only got 20 minutes to show all these stories. But what did you think about kind of that moment there?
Again, they're trying to like make her relatable. I know like getting a job is like so difficult now, and she has the credentials and all of that. And it's like, I get it. And like you said, it's rushed. Like this could have been a whole episode.
Of her, it could have been a whole episode of her losing her job and coming to grips of this now responsibility of being a hero. And what, again, we love She-Hulk, but then I just lost my job, guys. Like, cool. I'll sign your autographs later, but are y'all hiring right now? So yes, totally agree with you, man. It just could have been a whole episode of itself of Jen facing the realities of losing a job and going out there. And what does it look like in this world of you searching for, as we see again, for quick montages? But I think there was a missed opportunity to maybe explore that just a little bit more.
Oh, 100%. 100. And like, I feel like we all say that we want it to be like quick. We want them to be into their heroes, and we don't want to like wait it out, get their suit at the end of the series. Like I understand that, but I feel like we have no time with her, like zero time with her, and like we want more backstory, and it's just not working.
Yeah,
it's just not working.
It's going by too quick. It really is. And I saw, and we had her on last week. Shout out to Sharana for Pay Her Weight. She was on the channel briefly last week. And again, we'll be opening up the lines a little bit later. So Sharana, if you're still here, you're more than welcome to share your 2 cents on this episode. And that goes for everyone in the chat too. We'll be sharing that link a little bit later. But shout out to Sharonda and Jenna, and of course Rims, and everyone watching us live. Again, thumbs up, share, leave your thoughts in the comments. If you all completely disagree with me and Amanda, totally fine. Let us know how you're enjoying it, or if you're in the same camp with us in regards to, I want to spend more time with Jennifer. I want to spend more time in these kind of more, those moments that we're talking about, Amanda, are character build-up moments. Seeing a character at a low point and seeing them build themselves back up is something. Of course, it's a little bit on the nose. It's kind of stereotypical for heroes, but sometimes that's true and true to stories, is seeing that development. And things right now is just a little bit too, like I said, too easy, a little bit too convenient, and a little bit too rushed, as we've said multiple times. But again, this is where the show kind of shifts and focusing on Jen. We see her at our low point, looking for jobs online. And of course, Amanda, us Marvel fans, we got to pick out every little thing and look at what's behind, what's the painting on the wall, what kind of beer are they drinking? Is it a Stark Industry beer logo or something? But of course, we go on the computer. And everyone point this out by now. If you all don't know, looking on the screen, and Amanda, I know you've seen this tweet a couple times today. If you guys look on the right of the screen, of course, Iron Man 3s. That's pretty cool. Would you rock some Iron Man apparel, Amanda, some sneakers? Yeah, I would too. That would be pretty dope. Like if they were like the nanotech and it can just like form on your foot, it would be like Yeezys, but like $10,000. That'd be crazy. But Amanda, we know Easter eggs are always all riddled throughout the show. And of course, the first Easter egg, as you all can see, man fights with metal claws in a bar brawl. Amanda, metal claws. I don't know. Is there a character in Marvel that has metal claws and might find themselves drinking a beer or two? Is there anyone you can think of?
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
think they're making it
Um,
really obvious,
what is it?
like
Wolver Claw.
Wolf.
I can't.
Yeah,
I can't. You
Wolf,
guy might help us out.
Wolfman.
Wolfman.
I
I think
don't
Wolfman.
know.
I think you're totally right. And
Wolfman.
yeah, Hugh
Yeah,
Jackman played him for quite a few years. I think
yeah,
that
yeah.
might be a little Easter egg there. So we'll see what's that. But the one that got me a little excited, I'm not gonna lie, Amanda, is why is there a giant statue of a man sticking out of the ocean? Thank you, Marvel. I mean, we have literally had Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange, Into the Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, Moon Knight, as well as Miss Marvel. 5 projects. No one has addressed it, even though it's a small Easter egg, but at least it's acknowledged, Amanda, in the MCU. And of course, if you all don't know, we're referring to the big celestial sticking out of the Indian Ocean in in the Eternals film. So again, it was small, but at least they acknowledged it, Amanda. Is it, does that earn any brownie points for you that they at least acknowledge that there's a giant celestial hanging out of the world?
No. I'm gonna be honest with you. No. Like it took X amount of projects, and we're still not gonna see the Eternals in probably phase 5 or 6. That'll be like phase 7.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, great. Thank you for addressing it. But like it's a throwaway line. Literally, it's a throwaway line. Then
Literally, it's on a screen of a small computer that you can, if you blink, you missed it. But
like it's
at least I play devil. At least it's acknowledged, man. We had no
yes.
acknowledgement of it at all in 5 projects up until
Yeah.
now. So at least they're like, yes, guys, we know we're gonna get there. We're gonna eventually address that. But for right now, let's throw it on you on a little small computer screen just to let you know that
Yeah.
we know that
'Cause
there's some craziness going on right now. It's
yeah,
madness in
because
the MCU.
it's madness, complete madness, because they know that we're gonna be like, "What does the article say?
Yeah.
Let's
Yep.
zoom in," and,
And I
like, they
think
know that
someone
we're
said
gonna
if
do
you
that.
like scan that VR code, they give you like, of course, a free
Oh,
She-Hulk
yeah.
comic book. So it's Marvel. We always keep an eye out for those Easter eggs, and they're fun.
Yeah,
Again, we'll
it's a
hopefully
good
again
time.
they will address this sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
question I have for you, Amanda, is we meet Jennifer's family. Her mom, her dad, her cousin, her aunts and uncles, and not to play favorites here, Amanda, but this family ain't got nothing on Kamala's family. Nothing against these actors, nothing against them, but I didn't feel the love. It felt like a TV family. It literally felt like this was their first day on set, and they were
Yeah.
in Chad, which that guy, his face looks familiar. I don't know, Amanda. Do you watch what is the name of that show on Netflix? It's like these kids, and they're like they have 2 seasons. Outer Banks. Have you watched Outer Banks?
Okay, I haven't watched it. I've heard
Okay.
great things about it,
It's
but
a
I haven't
it's a
watched it.
very CW, but it's a guilty pleasure show of mine. But he's on that show. He's like a drug dealer. That's the only time I've seen him. And it's Chad, I think his name was. I hope this is the last we get of Chad, because that's like that over the top comedy that I'm not a big fan
Yeah.
of. But again, putting my thoughts aside, what do you think about Jen's family? And again, I guess not to compare it to Kamala's, because that's the best MCU family, if you ask me.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Can't wait to
Yes.
see them back. But what did you think about the dynamic and the mom and the dad? And very stereotypical. Oh, Jen, watch what you're eating, and mom looking out for
Yeah.
their looks, and dad seems to be the guy that she really resonates with. But what did you think about this dynamic in this family?
Again, like you said, it felt like a copy and paste of like a sitcom family. Like all of them are like combined together, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Jen's like 30 years old. She only has a job, blah, 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 blah. And like she doesn't have a relationship. Now she doesn't have a job. And now like
yeah,
she doesn't have a job or a relationship. And like, what can she do? Like it's that kind of situation at the dinner table that I'm like, we've seen this a million times. At
yeah.
least with like like Kamala Khan's family, you made them very unique and
So
just
fun.
so lovable, and you
Yeah,
made them just like wholesome in a unit that you're rooting for, and you want to be a part of their family and go over for dinner. So like in this case, it's like they were talking about Meg from family. But I just think that it's very generic. The entire show is generic. It's like they didn't know what to write for Jennifer Walters, so they're pulling from other legal sitcoms, other sitcoms in general, and they're trying to make a script out of it. I know
Mhm.
that sounds like really bad for me to say, but it comes down to the writing for each episode, because if you're not making these characters likable, and that I don't really care for half of them sometimes, like the struggle getting through these episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, it again, and this is our first time meeting the family. I don't know if we'll get more of her family. Stereotypical. We meet a family, and of course, the family is going to be in trouble at some point in time. The hero or the villain, I should say, seeks out a family member. But hopefully, the dad was fine. I like the dad. I'm not gonna lie. He seemed to be. He's very, take her out to the back and, hey, dog, how are you doing, Jen? I know you got a lot going on. This is the first time our family's dealt with the Hulk, so I kind of like that comment, and also, again, self-referencing the MCU. There's a question we've all asked ourselves. These arrows, Hawkeye, how are you, continuously getting your arrows? How does he, stuff
funny.
like that was kind of funny. But again, the family dynamic to me just seemed a little bit off, and seemed like literally it was like their first day on set, and it seemed to be a little detached, if I'm being honest. And again, I'm comparing it to Kamala's family, where as soon as we met them, it was like, this is awesome. I can watch just a whole show with Kamala and her family and all the different things they find themselves in. But this family was just very, like I said, very stale. But who knows? Next time we see him, there'll be a loving group of family members, and we can have a good time with them. But we cut into this again. She lost her job. She's down and out. She's visiting her family. Her cousin Chad or whatever has a job and she doesn't. But now we switch over to Mr. Holloway coming to her, approaching her at the bar, and offering her this new head position division at GLK&H. And immediately there's a catch to this whole job opportunity, Amanda. And that catch is, we need you to be She-Hulk because we want you to defend the different superheroes or heroes or people with abilities when they find themselves in position that need to be represented. We want you to represent them, but we only want you to take the job if you're going to present yourself as a She-Hulk. The subtext is there. Again, going back to your comments of like being, and definitely want to hear your thoughts, being a woman and what it's like for some women that, they're super intelligent, but they only got hired because they're extremely beautiful. And we only want you to, come to work wearing this, come to work with us, keep a smile on, and this, that, and the other. And that kind of ties into, we only want you to be the She-Hulk, to play into this new job. So again, it's some subtext there, but and again, she just immediately, again, knowing she's down and out, she needs to pay her bills. She needs a job. She wants this job, but she kind of took it pretty easily, if you ask me, that she was kind of swindled into this position and that she didn't really like address. Again, she broke the fourth wall, but she didn't really what? This is the only, she didn't really address that at hand. But I digress, Amanda. What did you think about, again, Mr. Holloway and this whole situation and this whole division? Your thoughts?
There needed to be more meat there, because this is the same dude who fired you and now he's hiring. And I'm just looking at it like, wouldn't you want to question it? Wouldn't you want to question the fact that they're choosing She-Hulk over you? I don't know how, if she has self-esteem issues, or I have no idea.
We don't know. Yeah, that's something we have to explore.
I have no idea. If I were in her position, be like, well, nobody wants me as Jennifer Walters. I was boring as Jennifer Walters. Why the hell does no one want me as Jen? That doesn't make any sense. This is the first thing that should have been written down in that script in that moment. Because why do they want me as She-Hulk and they don't want me as Jen? It does not make sense to me that she didn't even give it a second thought. And that's what I mean, that it's all surface level, when it's also important as a woman to explore that duality. Obviously not as a superhero, but in the workplace, as you were saying as well, and in society in general, how it's two different sides of a coin that we have to live with. And that's more authentic to the character becoming a superhero. And it's not there for me. And that's why it bothered me, because there's so many things that they touch upon, and it's good and it's great when they're talking about these women's issues. In the first episode, the thing that I absolutely loved was that bathroom scene with all of those girls helping her out. That's authentic. I've been in bathrooms at bars and you know what I mean, I've done that. So that's authentic. That's what I wanted to see more of, because it feels natural. This just doesn't make sense to me, why she's not giving it any thought, because I overthink everything. I'm pretty sure other people overthink as well. So there's no relatability there, even though they're trying to make her relatable.
And again, we break the tension with the fourth wall break, and she addresses this is the only reason, blah, blah, blah. But again, I would have loved to have seen And again, this is where the angel and the devil in the show there. I understand that the show is not taking that route so far. But I really think again that's a missed opportunity to really kind of have her speak up for herself and be
Yeah.
Jen and just show her personality and show that she is a little off put by that suggestion that she can only have this position because of her She-Hulkness and being a hero
Yeah.
versus not her own talents and skills to get her this position. And I would have been even okay with her being so accepting of this if we would have saw one or two more scenes of her. She gets a stack of bills are coming under the door. She has to pay this. She has to pay that. She needs a job, so she's willing to. I don't want to say demean herself or lower herself to these standards, but she's willing to just swallow the pill per se
Yeah.
and take this position because she needs to pay the bills, right? So, but
Mm.
we didn't see that. We just saw her looking online, little Easter egg, and then we jump right. And again, this goes back to shout out to Chris too, one of our other partners in
Nice.
crime, talking
Yeah.
about feeling like, and that's going back to that point. I
Like,
don't know why Marvel is hindering themselves on just limiting their shows. And again, we go from okay, we went from 6 episodes, now we got 9. We could celebrate that. But now these episodes are so short and so quick. It's just like you got to pick and choose, and we just can't have the best of both worlds. But
yeah.
missed opportunity to really explore again the decisions to be made because we're not having those moments to explore those
Mhm.
aspects. And not to be again, we're being honest with you. Again, let us know how you all feel about it. But
Yeah.
there are some good things to say about it. Again, we talked about the jokes. We talked about again Tatiana being great. And this is a moment that I'm very excited to talk to you about, Amanda. And that is there's an individual that was a part of the MCU in 2008, and we haven't seen the human form, at least, of this actor who I'm a big fan of, in a very long time. And Amanda, your thoughts on the return of Tim Roth as Abomination, making his way back to the MCU. They play the creepy music. We go into this heavy, secure location. He's looking pretty upset. Is he the same guy? Does he still have hate towards the Hulk and any one of his family? Namaste, Amanda. Namaste. He's a new man. He's a new changed man, a new perspective on life. He has a couple different relationships, some PayPal out of prison
Mhm.
relationships going. This is Marvel, Amanda. Take a very menacing, dark, twisted individual and throw a little jokes at our way. What did you think about Tim Roth returning as Emil Blonsky as Abomination?
I actually really loved Tim Roth in this. Like I thought he was like the shining moment for me in this episode.
Yeah.
Um and like I understand why they had to change him up. I
Mm-hmm.
completely get it. He was a lot of fun because of how relaxed and chill and zen he was. Like I
Yeah.
vibed with that. But again, in context of like how he was in the Incredible Hulk and like now it
Look at this
just
guy.
doesn't look
No
at that.
nonsense. Where's the
Yeah.
target? Send me
Yeah.
the target. Yeah, it's a different guy,
It's
different character.
It's different, but again, like you said, it has to suit the
The show.
MCU
Yeah,
evolution. It
yeah,
has to
yeah,
shoot this like it has to suit the sitcom style.
yeah,
It has to do that,
yeah.
unfortunately. So, I liked him. I thought he was cool for what it was. I
Mhm.
liked like his humor. I thought
Yeah, yeah.
that worked. I liked him and Tatiana together. I thought they bounced off of each other quite well because that also helps when you have great scene partners. Like that kind of
Right.
like elevates the comedic timing and all of that and the banter. So
Mhm.
that that kind of worked for me.
Yeah.
But Tim Roth is great.
He's a
So
gem. He's fantastic. And Amanda, I definitely I agree with you. Now, I at first I went back to dark flashbacks of Kingpin in Hawkeye. And y'all
we're never
know
getting
how I
over
feel about that. We'll never forgive Marvel for the treatment of Kingpin.
it.
But to your point, Amanda, the reason I like this, and not to say too, because I think that Kingpin was way more menacing in his stint as Kingpin and Daredevil
Yeah.
versus the film that we got in Tim Roth. He was great in that film. But the reason I'm okay accepting this new reformed version of this character is because in reality, yeah, he would be different. He's been locked up for 13 years. The world's been blipped. He's had time to think and
Yeah.
to his point, and as you mentioned, why Tim Roth's such a great actor, I bought his excuse. Yeah, dude, they gave me serum that made me, I was already a little bit maybe aggressive and I had a mission in hand, but it also enhanced my anger. It enhanced, I was
Yeah.
the hero. And that's what makes a great villain. They think they're the hero in their own story. So I
Yep.
bought his reasoning. And even Tatiana or Jen was like, yeah, that would be, it's kind of very parallel. She was given these powers without really direction. And also, too, he'd never had training of a Hulk. He just, became Abomination and so on and so forth. So, yes, I actually bought that kind of reform version. And like you said, Tim Roth plays it so well that it wasn't
Yeah.
overly goofy. It wasn't
Yeah.
too over the top. It was just like, yeah, namaste. I'm new. And he's also, we got to remember, he's also maybe playing a bit of a part. He also wants to get out of this supermax prison. So there might be a little bit tongue in cheek that he's just playing Zen master, happy going guy, because he ultimately wants to get back on the streets. And who
Yeah.
knows, he might want to get his revenge on the Hulk and Bruce Banner. But as of right now, he seems to be a pretty, clear-headed and non-villainous individual. But the thing I did not like, and we'll talk about a little bit later, was how Bruce forgave him so easily. Like, I want to see that on screen. I don't want to see an
That's so fun.
off screen apology. Like, dude, you almost killed me, my girl, destroyed the world. So that to me was a little bit of a slight towards those characters not having
Mm,
on screen moment. But again, to your point, I thought Tim Roth played that moment pretty well. And I'm
yeah.
excited to see more from him. And maybe one day we'll get more of this, this individual getting back into his mindset. But I will say, kind of, and then as we kind of, and in the conversation they had, and again, you mentioned, you hit it right on the head. The chemistry was great. He
Mm,
addresses the elephant in the room. Yes, I killed attempted to kill your cousin, but again, he gives us the reasons why. And I guess tossing it back to you, Amanda, do you
yeah.
buy this new side, or do you think it's all part of his way of getting out of jail and wreaking havoc?
No, I buy it. I 100% buy it. I think that he's just like down and out and he's ready to just live his life and meditate and go live with his girls and like do all that stuff. Like that's that I don't think they have use for him moving forward. I think they'll like keep him
Mm.
there. I don't know. I
Some
don't know what
people
they're.
might want him a part of the Thunderbolts.
It's. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot
Especially
about
now
that.
that he's broken out of jail, he might need
Yeah, I forgot about the Thunderbolts.
yeah. So
I don't
we might
know.
get more. We might.
We could, but the
Let's
team's.
see
I
what's
feel like the team's gonna be weird. That's a funny comment. I like that one.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued, and especially the rumors out
Mm.
there. And this isn't a sport. This is just a rumor, guys. It's online, but the rumor right now, the lineup is apparently Yelena, Abomination, um, Titanium, who's from this show, which will be interesting. Who else did I remember seeing? Taskmaster. I don't know
See what I
about
mean? See
that.
what I mean?
And then Bucky, and then there was someone else. I think Ghost might have been in there from Ant-Man. So it's going to be a very and Zemo, of course.
See,
It's going to be a wild bunch, and more curious is like who are they going to be fighting against? Are that's going
I
to be even
know.
more interesting. So, but either way, that's 2024 Phase 5 in the film. But I think come D24 or D23, we'll get that official lineup next month. But
Yeah.
so you buy it. You think he's being legit, he's being genuine, that he's being, he's a new man. You buying
Yeah,
that?
and yeah, I genuinely do, but, like, even with the Thunderbolts, I think they're gonna have to, like, get him to change into Abomination. Like, I don't think he'll do it right off the bat and be like, "Oh, angry." Like, we're not gonna get that side of him because, like, it's gonna be really playful, I think, the Thunderbolts, for
Mhm.
whatever reason, given, the characters that you just listed.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do considering, like, how they're being presented in all of these shows. It doesn't make sense for them to be like that menacing afterwards, like unless someone crosses them. I don't know, but I
Right.
think that they're gonna have to like pull Abomination out of him, and he's just gonna be chilling.
Yeah, very much so. Like I think the Hulk is going to be having to pull himself. You know the Hulk I miss, Savage Hulk, who will have to come back out someday. Which speaking of Hulk, we kind of wrap up the episode. Of course, Jen, she hears his plea and reasons why he was doing what he did back in the Incredible Hulk, and she calls her cousin, lets him know that she's not questioning and wants his approval that she's going to take the job. And I kind of, again, I love their banter. I love their kind of big brother, little sister conversations and their relationship. But again, I mentioned a little bit earlier, and I know we've been kind of hinting at the writing being a little lackluster, but some of the comedic jokes, especially this one here, Amanda, the fact that she says, and again, I'm not a fan of the Hulk saying that, yes, I forgave him. He sent me a letter, an apology, and blah, blah, blah. I think that should have been something that should have been saved for them on screen to have that moment. But, maybe they'll address it one day, or we'll get that cutscene or whatever. But he does say, he's different. I'm different. Literally, I'm different. And I love Tatiana looks at the camera, says wink and nod, ha ha. That is so funny to me, Amanda. I don't know why. Well, I know why it's funny, because it is like Marvel has completely forgotten about the Incredible Hulk and Edward Norton and that whole setup in that film. And they take, they took Thunderbolt Ross out of that film, and they took some of the consequences from that film. More particularly, we got Abomination back. But that was so funny to me, Amanda. Is that me, or did you find that joke, that little wink, wink, nod, nod of him being different, to be pretty damn clever?
So do you want to know something? It went
know
right over my head. It didn't even like dawn on me. And I'm like, this is when it was like too late to even say this joke for
you
me
were
to
checked
be like,
out at that
wait.
point.
I was checked. I was like, wait a minute, what does he mean by that? And the wink, and I'm like, what? Like, I was like racking my brain. I'm like, okay, forget it. I don't understand the joke. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And like, I feel bad not getting it, but like, it was so long for them to address it that I'm like, I guess multiverse, they're trying to do that. Like, I get it, but I don't know, Ellie. Maybe I was tired. I have no idea what it was. I felt so bad missing it. I know, Caitlin, I'm so sorry. It just went right over my head.
I loved it.
I don't know. Yeah, but that was me. I'm like, it's too late, fam. It was too late to address this joke. It was great for everyone who got it, but I'm like, nah, I couldn't.
I was always hopeful that they would address that one day, that either when Abomination sees Bruce again for the first time and he's like, wow, you do look different, or something of that nature. So, and who knows, we might even get another scene of them addressing that. But I just thought that was just so funny. And I'm glad that they kind of addressed the elephant in the room. And all I need now to complete this kind of recasting moment is I'm going to need She-Hulk to come across like a Terrence Howard and Rhodey and Don Cheadle, and being like, wow, you looked a lot lighter when you were younger, or something like that. I'm gonna need another acknowledgement of recasting in the MCU. That would be fantastic. But as we wrap up the episode, she tells her cousin she accepted the job. But Bruce, he's not going to be in town anytime soon, Amanda, because he's off doing some other stuff, some other shenanigans in space. As we pan the camera out, and we realize that he is on that same carrier that appeared in episode 1, which we have theorized that this, well, not theorized, they confirmed that this is from Sakaar. And we're now theorizing that it's the Grandmaster wanted his champion back, or B, and a lot of people think that this might be the case, and I think there's some truth to it, the Hulk was getting busy in Sakaar, Amanda, for 2 years. And I'm not just talking about in the ring. He was getting busy outside the ring, and we might get the son of the Hulk, and he might be having to address being a father. So, Amanda, do you think, and again, I know you've seen the first 4 episodes, is this the last of the Hulk? Or can we expect him to come back later in the series with a son, or, Jeff Goldblum on his side to, come back as the character?
Honestly, he could come back later on. I think that it'd be like, he's going to leave now, and then we're not going to hear from him. Like, she's not going to call him anymore. Like, we're not going to see the Hulk whatsoever until maybe like episode 7 or 8, like around there, I think.
Post-credit scene, maybe.
Post-credit scene, something like that. They haven't really announced if there is going to be a Hulk movie. So
I still don't know if the Universal owns the rights. I read somewhere that in June of 2024, 2023, next year, that the rights are going to expire and Marvel can officially have the Hulk back. But again, that's hearsay. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, like that makes complete sense, is why they're holding on to it. I would love to have a Hulk movie, like World War, like everyone's been saying it, and I think that it makes sense to do that. But again, this is set up for other people. And like, we also know that Daredevil, like he was in the trailers, he was
Yeah,
in the
it's already. Yep.
teasers. So like it's the fact that like Daredevil's also coming to the show, and it's just like I feel like they can shove everything in here, and then we're gonna lose Jen. So I think that everyone, because they planted that, it could be World War Hulk. They could, you know, bring his son. They could do all of that.
Yeah.
But now they planted it, and now everyone's gonna be like, well, when's he coming back? When's he coming back? And like we need
That's
him now. And
yeah. That's a
that's
great
where
point you
I'm
bring up,
sitting.
because I looked at it the reverse. That I actually looked at it like get him off the show so we can focus more on this version of the
Yeah.
Hulk. But to your point, I can see it being like almost. And the reason I feel that way, Amanda, because I'm not a fan of the Hulk. So the less of the Hulk, the better for me. So go ahead, go do what you want to do. Come back different, please. Come back. Bring while you're there. Go bring back Edward Norton wherever you're going.
Oh, damn.
So I'm actually glad that he's off doing whatever he's doing. And I honestly could care less if he appears back. But if he does come back, I want that Savage Hulk back, man. And I know a lot
Oh,
of people, like
yeah.
you mentioned, World War Hulk. Yes, that would be cool. But the Hulk that we have now, there's no way there's no storyline for that version of the Hulk, Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk playing into that story. It wouldn't make sense. So hopefully, wherever he's off doing, I hope he's getting pissed off and getting angry and getting back to the Hulk that I miss. So we'll see what happens. And again, less Hulk, more She-Hulk. Built that character, and we'll see if he'll come back in the future. But we end the episode with Jennifer calling Holloway saying, yes, I'll accept the job. He's like, oh, good. Congrats. In the meantime, I'm going to need you to bring your A game, because go ahead and turn on the TV. Lo and behold, we see, and this kind of blew my mind, not in a good way, though. We see Abominations on the screen, and he broke out of prison. And Amanda, you, as you know, because you've seen this film and I've seen it, and we're pretty big fans of this film. That was the scene directly out of Shang-Chi.
Yep.
Cool moment, right? He breaks out. It's like, oh, Jennifer has this, like, I've go ahead 10 steps, and now I'm 15 steps backwards. But I immediately went in my head, like, wait a minute. If this is taking place during Shang-Chi, didn't at the end of Shang-Chi, we saw that the Hulk had his cast on and he wasn't, timing wise. And I've seen some people address this online. They're saying that this was maybe old footage of Abomination. This is what he does at night. He sneaks out of his prison cell with Wong, which I assume next week will address Wong, why he's getting the Abomination to train and why he's out of his cage. But I'm like, wait, that timeline doesn't make much sense to me, Amanda. Am I thinking too much into it, or is there some logic to how the Hulk was different in Shang-Chi and this is taking place during that same timeline?
Oh no, you're like, it's on the nose. Like you're nailing it, because I was very confused while watching this, and it didn't make any sense if it's running the same timeline, because that we watched it, we saw it happen. So like, how is She-Hulk running at the same time as Shang-Chi? And then we see Mark Ruffalo and he magically fixed like his arm, the whole situation. So like I said, I've been saying, what is the timeline? What is the situation? I have no idea what it is. Like, this is how we saw him. His arm was in the sling in that post-credit scene. So it's like, what changed within like a day or two? Like, it does not make sense now. And I don't know what they did.
Me neither. And again, I don't want to be a stickler but we talk about, this is Marvel. This isn't, DC, and things just do it. We got, characters here, 18 Batmans here, but this is the MCU. They're pretty consistent with their continuity. So again, hopefully they will address it. Maybe that it was maybe leaked footage or old footage of a sorts, but no, why would they? That wouldn't make sense, because why would the news come across this old footage? That would have been live footage during that broadcasting of the show, because they were streaming that fight, that underground fight. So, yeah, I don't. I'm just trying to think of a way of how that all would line up.
Because then this also goes with like, what are the episodes numbered at the same time? Like, what have they moved around? Like, which scenes are you placing where? So like, now that we're aware of that, because the showrunners put that out there, we're trying to piece it together even more so. And now knowing this, it's like, what are we doing?
And it goes back to your point at the beginning of the episode when you mentioned that they, and this has been public knowledge, that they were going to have her origins at the end of the show, which would have made this moment make more sense, because they would have, we would have seen that, well, not chronologically, or it would have went backwards, but it would have made a little bit more sense that, we would have saw that later on versus tying it into Shang-Chi. So, yeah, a little thing. It was, again, I like the idea of what that means, that she's going to obviously have to figure out what are you doing, bro? I thought you were new. Namaste. You control the Abomination,
Yeah.
but now you're fighting. And again, I know you won't spoil anything, but I know you've seen. If you can blink once or blink twice with me, Amanda,
I can see.
Wong is coming, right? Am I assuming that Wong's coming pretty soon? Blink twice if yes, or blink once if no. Okay, we got some blinks there, ladies and gentlemen. So I would assume that Jennifer will discover why Wong is partnering up with Abomination and why they're training and getting out of jail and stuff like that. So I'm excited to explore that element. But neither way, Amanda, what did you feel about this ending and what it means? And again, I know you've seen it, but what is it? Does it get you excited for what that could potentially mean as far as this little stinger here?
I'm just really excited to see everyone's reaction next week to this episode. It's a good buildup, don't get me wrong, but I have my my thoughts for next week. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to say anything. I'm just I can't wait for Twitter. I can't wait for Twitter.
You're doing a great job, Amanda, keeping your keeping it close to the vest there. I like it. I've heard some rumblings. I've seen a couple of the reactions of episodes 3 and 4, and it seems like we might have seen the best of the show so far from what I've heard. First 2 episodes a little bit more superior than the next 2. So that's going to be really interesting to dive deep into those conversations and see what they're going to give us in episodes 3 and of course episode 4. But overall, we'll wrap it up. And again, if you guys want to join me, Amanda, for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to put the link in the stream here in a bit, and anyone and everyone can come in with a caveat. Anyone and everyone with a good head on their shoulders, not come in to be disrespectful, to have an open dialogue about this show, about the MCU. And if so, make sure you have a mic and a camera, and you're here to talk about this show. So I will allow anyone and everyone with that caveat to come into the stream to discuss your thoughts on that. But again, wrapping it up, Amanda, overall, 1 or 2, which one was better? And from this first 2 episodes, how are you feeling? Again, taking into account episodes 3 and 4, but just for the based on 2 episodes, how are you feeling about this show?
I like 2 better than 1 slightly. Not that much of an improvement, but slightly, just because we got to deal more with Jen's identity. I know Griff is in the comments right now, and like we're on the same. He's there, and we're on the same wavelength.
Griff, what's up, man? What's going on, man?
We've been on the same wavelength with this, and like you guys know I don't do spoilers, so like obviously I would never ever ruin anything for you guys. But yeah, it comes down to the writing, and Griff and I were talking about this on the TL today. It's hard for them to structure this and like actually care about it, because it doesn't mesh well. It doesn't work for me. And given the next couple episodes, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to stick around with it, because you love Tatiana. I absolutely love Tatiana Maslany, and she's the only thing that's elevating this right now. She's the only thing that's bringing any spark to it. And I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not. I tweeted this and people were just like yelling at me. I feel like there's no heart to this show within the first 2 episodes. And like, yeah, you have cousinly love. They're there, like Bruce and Jennifer, like they're together. You have that banter, whatever, but there's no driving force. Like I don't know what it is to make you like stick around and like watch the series. I think that's the main issue. Like Kamala Khan had so much heart. You feel for her. There's like an emotional connection there. Same thing with Moon Knight. You feel for him instantly within like 2 episodes. You feel that already. And every other D+ show, like you have that connection to them. But here it's like, what are we doing? I should be connecting with the lead actor, So I don't know. I think that's what it's lacking. There's no heart to this. They're just writing whatever they feel would make sense in today's generation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. Well said, Amanda. And I'm hopeful that the heart is there, because I feel like Tatiana, just from the work I've seen her in, she seems to pick projects that has heart, that has something to say, that has something to add to the conversation. So I'm hoping that rough starts, thinking of it as an opportunity to kind of grow, and we still have the rest of the season to kind of explore this character. But I definitely agree with you. Right now, it doesn't have the same punch as you mentioned, like a Moon Knight or a WandaVision, or my personal favorite, Loki. But we got someone in the back room. This person has not only supported my channel, but Amanda, and this person's just great. Every time I see their name pop up in the comments, it puts a smile on my face, and I'm excited to meet this person and see them. I'm talking about Caitlin, y'all. What is going
Hi
on?
guys.
Hey!
How
Oh my
you doing?
Hi.
god!
Live in the
Nice to meet
flesh.
you.
How you doing?
Amazing.
Good, I'm doing good. It's midnight right now for me, but it's
Oh,
fine.
damn.
I'm really
It's
happy
late.
Damn.
to join
And
you guys. Yeah.
showing
Oh
some love,
wow.
Caitlin. I really
Yes.
appreciate, like I just said, whenever you drop in the stream, you drop in the comments, you always dropping some great nuggets. I always
Yeah.
love what you have to offer, and I'm just
Thanks
super
guys.
excited to get the opportunity to chat with you.
Yes, I'm very excited to join this chat this week. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This
Well,
is
hey,
exciting.
me and Amanda just talked for about an hour
Yes.
of this show. And again, you were dropping your thoughts in the comments, but how did you feel? First off, how are you feeling about the show so far? And then, of course, what were your thoughts about episode 2?
Yes. So far I'm quite liking it. I'm very curious where it's going. I'm still a bit patient with where they're going because there are still
Mhm.
many episodes left.
Right.
But on the other hand, I feel like there's um, I need more of Tatiana. I mean Jen,
Mhm.
and get to know her character better because right now it's pretty much on the surface, I guess you guys said as well. And yeah, I just want to get to know her better. And
Yeah.
I feel like the touches on certain topics are very nice, but then they don't delve deeper into that, and that's a
Yeah.
bit disappointing. Like they just say it, but then they don't do anything with it. And that
Mhm.
was kind of the same in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they addressed some things, but then
Yeah.
also didn't. So
Yeah.
I feel
Great
like that's the
connection.
same here as well.
Yep. No, I love that tie-in that you just mentioned because Falcon and Winter
True.
Soldier, as it's been a year since it's been out, I definitely agree with you on that sentiment that it was so many moments of exploring Sam and not only being this new Captain America, but what did it mean to be a black Captain America, and also Bucky and his past sins and
Mhm.
trauma. So far, WandaVision to me has been the most one of my favorite series, but it
Mm.
dove really deeper into that element of
Mhm.
what is really driving Wanda to become what we ultimately see in Doctor Strange, the Scarlet Witch, and seeing that loss and what it did to her, and really dove into that aspect. And it feels like every other show, and I'll throw Moon Knight in that hat as well. Every
Yep.
other show to me has kind of missed that
Mm.
mark on exploring those characters. But let's have some fun, Kaylin. I want to know what was some moments in this episode that put a smile on your face. One of those meta jokes about the Hulk being
Yes.
different in this MCU versus Edward Norton. And of course the little Easter egg. Did you get excited when you saw Claus in the bar or the big
uh,
celestial
I
hanging
didn't.
out of the world?
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to that. I haven't had time to watch a breakdown video yet, so I didn't know until we mentioned it this stream.
Yeah, yeah,
But I was like right now seeing it, it's very exciting to have these little nods to these other characters and like
yeah.
to the Eternals, to
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine who's coming down the line,
Mhm.
especially with the mutants being announced in Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
So I thought that
It's
was a
very
very
good.
nice nod to that they acknowledge the bigger MCU world,
Right,
so to speak.
right.
Yes. Yes. Also, the meta joke with the Hulk, I
Oh
thought it
my
was super
goodness.
funny. That was like
It
the
feels
only
so
time I
good.
actually laughed
It was
this
so good.
this
It was
series.
so good.
That was so good. Like it was just like I was a different person back then, literally. Also, just the pause in there, I was like, "Oh, this is too good." And I also like that they acknowledge the facts and like the events that happened in Incredible Hulk. It's like a
Mm.
movie that's been underrated in my opinion. I know it was at the beginning of the MCU,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
not a lot of
Yeah.
like they were still trying to figure out where they were going with the feel and humor and everything. And I do like that they acknowledge it in this series finally.
I love it.
Yes.
That acknowledgement. And Caitlin, like I said, if they give us a roadie, the recasting of Don Cheadle and Tyrus Howard, it completes the meta-ness of the MCU. I would
Yes.
absolutely love that. I'm trying to think, are you going back to just the show maybe not giving us enough Jen in that aspect. Are you happy that the Hulk is now kind of doing his thing in space and off finding his son or the Grand Master? And like with Amanda mentioned, do you feel like that was a thing that people are now going to be like, oh man, I missed the Hulk? Or do you feel like, no, this is an opportunity to explore more of Jen's character and to focus on her and the next, of course, we know Wong's coming in Daredevil, but
Yes.
hopefully we get more time with her.
So I like that we got more of Hulk in episode 1 and see what he had been up to until this point after Endgame.
Yeah.
Also after Age of Ultron. After that, he went to Sakaar. But then when he came back, we got so we got to see what he was up to. He built the lab with Tony. That was very nice to see that, like their relationship. I really like that. But then again, it didn't go deep enough into that. I want like a little bit more. I don't know. I just feel like that was lacking a little bit. But I think it's good that he's gone to Sakaar now. Maybe one more episode with him would have been nice. But I think it's good that he's off to doing his own thing, Sakaar, on the Sakarian ship, because now we can focus on Jen. And last week, I already said that I was really afraid that the cameos and like the other characters would take the focus off Jen's story and of her development and everything. So I think it's good that he's gone out so that we can focus on Jen, and that's not like that we don't have to balance two Hulks.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I really do hope, to your point, Caitlin, that it is more to allow Jennifer to shine. And again, I know Wong's coming. I know Daredevil's coming, but I hope that they can naturally, organically allow those characters to kind of not take the spotlight from the character that is the title of the show. Anything else, Caitlin, that you wanted to bring up about this episode, or just kind of maybe veer off about maybe a question you have for me and Amanda about the MCU? Anything off top that you can that you want to bring to the conversation?
Not specifically, but I do want to mention that I agree with Amanda on the humor not sitting right for me either. It's also been with Thor: Love and Thunder there as well. I think they make fun of everything, and I don't like it too much. Like in like Hulk and Thor are like 2 of 3 originals that are still here with us, and I feel like they play them both off as a joke, like all 3 actually, with Hawkeye as well. They're just like making fun of them, and I don't like that they don't respect our original heroes, so to say, and everything is like a joke right now, and I don't like it.
I feel
like,
that
they have so much more character depth that we could explore, or that we could at least like honor them or some kind of way, for being our heroes from the beginning. And right now it's just everything's played of a joke. Like I think with Thor in Infinity War, he was like in his best form.
Perfect.
And then after that in Endgame, he's dealt with depression, and that they didn't deal with well. And
I agree.
And then with Hawkeye as well in his series, like the focus was off him. Like I wanted to see more with Ronan and what he did then.
Speaking
like,
my language.
And I feel like there's so many missed opportunities with these characters in these series and in these movies that we've seen in Phase 4. And I think it's very unfortunate.
I hear you.
Also with WandaVision, that's my favorite show still. I really love Wanda. And I like her character development in the Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange. But then Doctor Strange was like sidelined, and they didn't really know what to do with him. Also in Spider-Man No Way Home, that was like so silly about the spell, and he was really not thinking twice.
Facts.
And I just feel like Phase 4 has been missed opportunities, because I really could see the potential in what it could have been, but then they just they just missed it, and I
Yeah.
feel really bad
You know,
about
Caitlin,
that.
I knew there was a reason that you were awesome. You're speaking my language. We're on the same wavelengths for sure. And I really again, I can't thank you enough for just not only the support you saw on this channel. I know you support a lot of Amanda's content, a lot of our other
Thank you.
content creators out there, and I couldn't be more happier to be able to chat with you and see you and talk to you about the show in the MCU. And
Okay.
again, I know it's late where you are, but by all means, the links and the streams always open for you to come and join us again. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Was
guys, for
fun.
having me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you have a good
Okay.
night's rest, and hopefully we'll
Yes.
catch you again on the next one.
I'll see you.
All right. Take care.
Bye,
Take care.
Caitlin.
All right, guys. Caitlin, again, she's awesome. I'm so glad, Amanda, we
Right?
got a chance to chat it out with her and talk to her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring in another guest here. We have a man who joined us last week, dropping some knowledge on us, and he's back to share some thoughts with us. We're talking about Justin, man. What's going on, my man?
Hey, Elliot, what's going on, guys?
Welcome, man. How you doing?
Doing good. I was freaking out because Caitlin was in like midnight, and I'm over here in bright daylight. Crazy.
It just goes to show us, man. We got people all over the world, man, and that's awesome. Yeah. We got Caitlin to join us. But hey, Justin, man, what's going on, my friend? How are you feeling about She-Hulk episode 2?
Oh, it was more of the good stuff. I really did enjoy the like, you know, last week she said that, you know, it's easier for her to handle her anger, and Hulk, Bruce keeps telling her, no, you don't understand. You're a superhero now. You're not the same person. And today you see it, the consequences. People don't see you as a lawyer. They don't see you as Jennifer Walters. They see you as a She-Hulk. They see you as your power first. So I think that was like a real humbling moment for her, where she's like, I'm no longer what I thought I was. I'm something completely different.
Yep. I agree with you, man. I agree. And by the way, Christian, your son, man, did he watch the second episode yet?
No, he was still asleep. So he woke up in and out of it. So I'll watch it again with him and take down little notes.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha. Going back to the questions we talked about a little bit earlier, man. How did you feel about the meta-ness, the jokes, the Hulk going off to where's the Hulk going, man? And Abomination, Shang-Chi timeline, man. What do you think about all that?
Oh, the timeline threw me off. I was really trying to figure it out. I was like, wait a minute, this ain't the math ain't mathing here. Yeah. This isn't going right. I do like how Marvel has a good habit. It has a good track record of setting up little storylines every once in a while, like peppering it in, and then of course the payoff later.
Yeah.
But right now it's more like, okay, like I'm getting distracted from Jen's story, wondering where he is.
That's what Amanda was talking about earlier. Kind of going to be like, where's the Hulk? When are we going to see him again? Yeah. And like I said, I'm the opposite right now because I've mentioned many times I'm not a fan of the Hulk, so I'm okay with him doing his shenanigans.
Yeah.
But I knew, like you and Amanda, I do think some people will probably feel that way.
One thing I did really enjoy about this show, because, you know, I was like, what happened to the Sokovia Accords? Like, how is that working out? And I think this show did a great job of bringing it up. Like, you know, he's in jail. He's a superpower villain.
Yeah.
And I remember in the storyline in the comics, Jen had a unique story arc because as She-Hulk, she agreed that, yes, the registration needed to go. But as a lawyer, they didn't allow you to have a trial. So that really digged in on her. So maybe we'll see something like that, where these superheroes or anybody with superpowers, regardless what they are, their rights are taken away from them. Like, hey, you don't sign, you have superpowers, automatically you're going to jail, and that's something as a lawyer she can't go by. Like, this is completely wrong, immoral. So hopefully they go with some of that in this first season. I would really be interested. It's supposed to be a lawyer show, so hopefully.
That's some great points, Justin. You're bringing up some facts there, man, and I that's why I always love talking to you, man. You always bring up those great stuff to tie into what can make the story better. But any questions you have for me and Amanda, Justin, or any comments or theories or anything you want to throw out there, man?
Of course, I'm more with Disney Plus. I'm always like, who's Mephisto? So I think that guy who's always rude to her, Mephisto. Every show, I'm like, the Mephisto's in here somewhere. I know it.
He's
I have war flashbacks.
Oh my goodness, Mephisto, man. That will never give that up. But listen, Justin, man, again, man, 2 weeks in a row. It's always great seeing your face, man. Hopefully you can join us next week and share your thoughts on that, man. But I always appreciate you, Justin, man. It's good seeing you, man.
You too, Elliot. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right,
Nice
man. Take care.
Later, guys.
Amanda, Mephisto. It gives you fright, nightmares.
Yeah, it does. Still does. I don't know where he is. I need to know if it's going to be
He's
Al
somewhere,
Pacino or
man.
not. So,
All right, Amanda. Fingers crossed. We got another a newcomer. I haven't seen this
Yeah.
person on the channel before. Again, I'm fingers crossed it's not a bot. If it is, they're going to be kicked out ASAP. But we got a newcomer here. Want to talk to us about some MCU universe stuff. What's
Yeah.
going on, man?
Hey.
Hello, can you hear me?
He can talk, Amanda, so
Yeah.
he's not a bot. So that's a
I'm
good
not a-
step.
Not a bot.
What's
I don't
going
wanna
on, man? How we doing?
I'm fine. I'm happy to be on your show. I've been
Yeah,
watching
man.
it for the last 3 weeks. Sent a few
Okay.
comments which you replied to, but
Yeah.
you didn't know it was me. I mainly came on to talk to you about to get your opinion on the whole Marvel universe.
Sure.
I personally, the reason I want to ask that question is because I believe that the Marvel universe is a bit too, how should I put it, PG, as opposed to the comics that I've read. So to give you an example, I'm talking about the last time I went to the cinema to watch a Marvel hero that actually scared me for a bit, because that world, that universe was quite real, was Blade Part 2, especially Part 2 compared to Part 1.
Love that.
And I just find that since then, all the other characters that they bring to the big screen, and they do a brilliant job with the special effects and the storyline, but it's kind of PG rated. So for example, you look at Hulk now. The Hulk that I grew up reading about was a scary character.
Right.
And I remember watching an animation where the Hulk is fighting Wolverine, and he literally picks Wolverine up and he rips Wolverine apart. And he throws his button. So it's this uncontrollable rage. I remember I was a kid watching, the whole Bill Bixby thing when he was the Hulk, and Lou Ferrigno would play the Hulk and all that. And there was I don't really see that with the new stuff. It's kind of happy-go-friendly, happy-go-lucky. It seems to be working well, but I'm like, it's not like the comic books, and the Spider-Man stuff was good, but it's kind of like really PG, like too happy-go-lucky. But then I'm thinking maybe I'm just being a miserable person, so I thought maybe I should get you guys' opinion. Maybe I'm just being miserable.
Well, listen, man, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the question here. And Amanda, I'm going to put the pressure on you. What do you think about this question here in regards to, and it's a lot of truth in what he's saying as far as this PG, more neutered maybe is the word, or maybe more family friendly can be the word. What do you think about his comments there? And do you think there's a lot of truth in that?
I think that it depends on the hero at this point, because we did have like Multiverse of Madness and like that. I don't think that was like really family friendly. It was a bit darker than what we're used to. But I completely agree. I think that phase 1 and phase 2 is like drastically different than like 3 and 4 in regards to the humor, in regards to, the messaging and the themes that are presented. It's more, I don't want to say dumbed down. I don't want to say that, but it feels like if you're watching like everything past the Winter Soldier, it's a completely different vibe. And then that's when like Disney bought Marvel. Like you see the transition like in that case. But for me, the last time that I took something like really seriously, apart from like, I guess like the stakes in Infinity War, was the Winter Soldier. And then everything after that, it was like me trying to get back into it, because there are a lot of films after that where I liked some of it, but I didn't like all of it. And then there's like some bangers because they went to the roots of it again. And we got those serious moments, and it's not just like light and fun and jokey like that. But it's very PG. It is, but they have to market to everybody. They can't throw an R-rated film there. They can't, they can't have like adult themes in there if they're going to market it to children at the same time. It's all about the demographic. How much money can we actually bring in? Who can go to the theater to watch these films and our films? So I know that DC is a lighter tone, a darker tone, and we've gotten used to that over the years. And I think that's why it's so great to have that contrast between the two. But I do agree that it's very PG. And it changed halfway through the phases, I think, when they're building this universe.
Well said,
it's
Amanda.
almost like, sorry, I was going to say, it's almost like a generational thing. Because if you guys remember Superman, when it came out, the first Superman with Christopher Reeves. Think about it. They were very adult themes there, and it was actually scary. Remember the scene when the earthquake takes place and Lois Lane is dying? That scene, and her car goes through the road and all the stuff's coming and she's screaming, help, help. I remember seeing that as a kid. I was petrified and scared for her because she was dying. All the stuff was coming into the car. And of course, Christopher Reeves gets there and she's dead. That type of stuff. They try and do it in the stuff, but it's like, I understand what you mean. It's Disney. They have to cater for an audience. But I think that the generation has changed. The audience that I was a part of when I was a kid, it was almost as if when they were making films, this generation can take this. Let's show someone dying. Or you had, but it's like this generation, they just want to tame it down to the extent that when I saw the trailer for She-Hulk, I thought, I'm not going to watch this. This looks like a comedy. This She-Hulk
is supposed to be scary.
It's supposed to be scary. I remember the She-Hulk when I was a kid, when she's in front of the comic book, that the cover, she looks scary. I'm like, she doesn't look scary here. But again, I'm being miserable. I'll shut up.
No, man. I think you hit the nail on the head, man. Bringing up the generational thing. You know, this is a new era of media in the culture of media, where there are certain things that aren't as acceptable as they were back in the day, and seeing death and grittiness and depression and suicide and all those key words aren't something that Disney likes to market, because obviously, as a lot of people like you all have mentioned and people in the chat, it is Disney at the end of the day. And what does Disney want to do? They want to market to your kids, because your kids are going to be the ones that wants the toys, wants the video games, wants the apparel, wants all the stuff that makes friendly neighborhood Spider-Man someone that you can, go to bed with on your pillow and all that stuff. But at the same time, I think, like Amanda mentioned, there are moments where I think Disney has said, we understand that there is a mature audience, because the kids aren't buying those movie tickets, it's the parents. And we want the parents to be just as, maybe not as, gun-ho and happy about it, because again, they're still trying to sell it to the younger audience, but we want the adults and the comic book readers to appreciate what we're trying to bring to the big screen. So I think there is every 5th or 7th MCU film, I think, Amanda, you brought it up perfectly, Winter Soldier. I think of Black Panther. I think in Infinity War, yes, it has its fun moments, but I mean, we're talking about the whole, and spoiler alert for a film came out almost 4 years ago, half of existence disappeared from humanity. That's a pretty dark and grim situation when you really sit back and think about the consequences of your loved one missing, and you don't know what the hell happened to them. And then all of a sudden they come back 5 years later. So there are moments where I think the MCU does dive into those more grounded, human, gritty stories. And again, I feel like it's every 4 or 5 different products they want to do that. They can't just continuously go dark, because again, kids, oh, mommy, daddy, I don't want to watch that anymore. Can we put on SpongeBob? So I think it's a balance that I think Disney is still figuring out. And again, we're 13, 14 years in the MCU, and nothing's perfect, but I think that there's still an opportunity for the Blades of the world. We saw Moon Knight. That was some pretty, not super dark, but it was dealing with depression and having a split personality and what comes with that. And we're getting Daredevil and we're getting Punisher. So I think that we are now at a stage where we can have a Miss Marvel and we can have a Moon Knight. We can have a Spider-Man and we can have, a Punisher or a Daredevil. So I think Marvel's, they're finding their way. And I think eventually we're going to, just like comics, you can read a friendly, fun, energetic story of the Fantastic Four on a journey to save the world, or you can read a dark and gritty Frank, Castle killing people on the streets that killed his family. So I think Marvel's almost at the point now where they have their own filmography, where it's almost like going to a comic book store, and you can go for the more light stuff, you can go for the more mature stuff, and not everything's going to work for everyone. But I think there's going to be a better balance as we continue to grow out the MCU.
Well, that's all I had to say. I'm glad you let me on. I'm glad I spoke to both of you. I look forward to more of your live streams. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Again, this is a test run for the live viewers last week, and there was some bots. So pardon me if I was a little bit like, you make sure you're not a bot. So I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate you coming on and joining us today, man.
Take care. Goodbye.
All right, man. You have a good day. Take care.
Bye.
Amanda, so I was trying to surprise you guys. Men in Black. I'm a little neutralized. You guys. So we're gonna bring in the next guest here, Amanda. I don't know your timing. I know you got you got a stream later tonight. How much more do I have you?
You're good. You're good.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, you're good.
This has been great so far, guys. I appreciate Justin. I appreciate our last guest, Caitlin, coming in. Amanda, always, I always appreciate your time. And now we got another guest joining us again. You guys can see that 10 seconds ago. Just imagine you see that next guest.
No idea who's coming.
Yeah.
What's up? Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? I was driving home from something I had going on, and I was stuck in traffic, and I was like, well, you know what? If you opened up the StreamYard, then I guess I'll just like come in. And lo and behold, you guys have done such a great job of having a conversation that I'm almost home and can turn my camera on in a second. But yeah. Anyways, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing good, Griff. We're doing good. And by the way, guys, because this is his avatar is different from his YouTube channel. This is Griffin, ladies and gentlemen, from Film Speak. You might have heard of the channel, one of the best, video essayers out there, content creators out there. So that's who this guy is. And he's been on the channel a few times. Hopefully we get him back, and he's visiting us now. Yeah, man, Griff, it's so good to hear your voice, man. And listen, me and Amanda and some other guests have been talking about She-Hulk, and I know you got a video dropping pretty soon. And the title's very bold, Griff. It's very bold. So
excited.
How you feeling, man? How you feel?
I'm feeling like I don't like She-Hulk, but like it's not for the reasons that I think a lot of people probably don't like She-Hulk. I think I share, and I know Amanda, you and I have talked about this a little bit, but I think my main issue with it is that they're really like they're like posing all of these great ideas. They're like, oh yes, feminism and like feminism in the workplace, and we're gonna do a law procedural, and we're gonna do all this stuff, but they're not really interested in like giving these ideas or like specifically the subgenre of like a legal comedy any sort of weight. I mean, I know it was probably meant as like a self-deprecating kind of thing, but when the writer goes out and they were like, oh, we didn't really like research any legal comedies or like any courtroom kind of stuff to make this show, haha, like that's like, okay, it's cool, you're being cute and funny and whatever, and it's like cool to acknowledge like your shortcomings, but
we can tell. Oh,
nope.
Did we lose him? No, Griff.
And I think as we see.
Oh, he's cutting out. No.
Griff, if you can hear us, man, you're cutting out for a little bit there, man.
Oh shit! Did I cut out real quick?
Oh, there he goes. There
yeah,
just.
Yeah. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. That's what happened. But so I think what we've seen in this episode and what we'll see in next week's episode, and actually episode 4, it really shows like a lack of interest in like the kind of show that they're trying to make, and I think it's gonna bum a lot of people out, honestly.
That is good to hear, man, because Amanda said that as well, and as we said earlier on, I have heard some things about some the people that have seen the first 4 episodes that the next 2 aren't as fulfilling as at least for the first 2, and for some people that do like the first 2. So that does kind of make me a little worrisome, but again, we'll see. And guys, there's Griff. He's here with us.
Hello.
Listen, man, Griff, we talked about it, and I definitely agree with you and Amanda are saying. And I guess the question is, and of course, we don't know the writers and their intentions, but why do you think, and tossing to you first, Amanda, why do you think they are shying away or scared to, or if we're using the word scared, to dive deep into these themes and these kind of discussions that they're bringing? Why aren't they touching on it? Is there a reason why you think? Is it going back to the last callers? They're scared to really have those conversations, or is this what's the hesitation, you think?
I think it comes down to the fact that they're labeling it as a sitcom, because if it was not like, we have to make it a legal sitcom, then they could tap into all of that. So I think they're leaning heavily on the fact that we have to add this kind of humor to balance everything out and not make it too serious. But at the same time, that's harming the character development for Jennifer Walters. And then they don't know like the legal jargon, like as they said, like they don't know what they're writing about at the same time. So they're like pulling at strings to make it relevant, but also catering to like, I don't want to say like the way Twitter would want them to like write the show. Like, I don't want to say that, but, and I'm a girl saying this, guys. Like, I'm a girl saying this. So it just, yeah, but yeah, go ahead, Griff.
No, I was gonna say to echo your point. It's performative. It literally in the most most truest sense of the word. I think it's if you're gonna make a show about like feminism and specifically like how women are treated in the workplace, don't just like bring up the idea and cover these like broad, don't cover it in such a broad way that we've seen since like my God, I don't know, like the 80s or 90s. Like the show is like trying to be like Ally McBeal or whatever, which is a show that came out in 1997. And there's nothing in this show that show did not already say. And like there's an argument to be made of like, oh well, nothing's really changed. And it's like, okay, if that's the case, which I do agree with, by the way, that there's a lot that is the same, that is problematic, then address the fact that nothing has changed, and make that part of the commentary you're making in this show, not just like, well, I'm dating in my 30s, oh shucks, or like just some of the other like Amanda was saying, like Twitter slogans. It's just it's girl bossy, and it's I don't know, I really hate to like come down on a show like this for like trying to do something that's I guess trying to have that kind of a conversation, but when the conversation like starts and ends with just like, here is this thing, that's it, we got to go help the Abomination out. It's really, I don't know, it's really upsetting.
It is, because there's so much, again, like you all are saying, there's so much to kind of tackle and to bring to the table, because this is the first time we really get to have these conversations in the MCU. Obviously, Natasha was the first kind of big lead female character within the Avengers, and we really didn't spend that much time. We all know Natasha's film was 10 years almost too late, but now we do have a character that's dealing with more grounded situations, work-life environment as a female, and what comes with that. And it seems to just want to dance around it or poke fun of it and not really explore it. And again, I guess it goes back to this MCU of being less divisive and more acceptable for the mass audience. And you would think that the reason they give someone like this a character a show is to get more deep and dive deeper into the conversations and not worrying about the box office result. Oh, we can't sell a She-Hulk movie talking about feminism. We're not going to sell tickets. This is why you have Disney Plus to really kind of dive into it. So granted, and I know you both have seen the first 4 episodes, and we have, 5 through 9 to go, leaving a little bit of room to space for them to explore. But I definitely agree with you, at least for you all in the first 2 episodes, that they've skated around the issue and just kind of have brought it to the table, but not have delivered more depth in that. But Griff, man, I know you are a big Marvel fan yourself, man. What are some key things that has worked for you? Is it some of the jokes, the comedy, the greater MCU? What has worked for you, my friend?
He's trying.
Really, I really am. I mean, similar to, I think, how everyone sort of feels, Tatiana Maslany is working for me. She's great. And there were things in that first episode. Just so people are aware, my favorite episode of the series from the episodes that I've seen thus far is actually episode 1, which is saying something, because that episode has a lot of issues. But I liked the idea behind addressing Bruce's trauma and stuff like that in that episode, and kind of exploring the cousin dynamic there. I thought that was really interesting. But I guess the problem with that is like we didn't get to see that, right? It was just stuff that was all told to us. We were like, oh, Bruce sorted his shit out now, and we're just like, oh, okay, cool. But you know, that aside, I think, you know, him trying to help Jen, and then Jen kind of like saying like, well, we're not the same person. We have our, you know, own way of dealing with stuff. Like there's a lot of good back and forth there, even if like her monologue felt like weirdly directed at the wrong person that she was giving to Bruce, and it was just sort of like, I like the intent behind it. I just don't know if that's something that like I don't know. It was like Bruce felt out of character, and then it was like maybe she should have said that to someone else. But yeah, outside of that, man, I'm really struggling because you know, Tatiana Maslany is doing every possible thing she can with the material, but the material is so fucking bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's in. Yeah, I don't.
Literally.
The first two, she's been the saving grace for sure, and luckily they have someone with such talent to kind of elevate maybe the lack of things that she's been given. But yeah, I totally agree with you. The relationship, and listen, we've talked about Bruce Banner, Hulk. That character died to me in Infinity War when Thanos gave him those hands. So he hasn't been the same.
Dude, I think he died after Ruffalo took over. I really miss what Norton was trying to do for that character in the Incredible Hulk. Like, I don't know,
man. It's rough, man. It seems like Marvel, when it comes to, it almost seems like when it comes to the more almost like bigger than, I don't want to say bigger than life, but these super powered Hulks, Captain Marvels, Doctor Stranges, Thor at points, that they try to do the opposite of like the whole conversation that people can't write Superman because he's perfect. They almost want to divert that situation and almost really humanize them, but they also kind of dumb them down to a level that's just like unacceptable at points.
Well, and it's not just these characters that get, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for the next two episodes that you'll see, but like even in this episode with Abomination, I like Tim Roth, like he's definitely having fun in the role, but it feels like they're dumbing the characters down to meet the meet the standards of the show, and it's just like there is something interesting behind the fact that Blonsky is like reformed. He wants to choose a new path and whatnot, but he's also saying a lot of weird things that I don't think line up with that character. Like he's like, oh, they pumped me full of drugs and I'm the victim here, and it's like, you might, the way the show plays it, they're playing it like he's, you know, being serious about that, like he firmly believes that, but the truth is, it's like, dude, you were asking for those drugs in that movie so that you could out alpha the Hulk. Like we all know what really went down, and so Jen, like, just being like, oh no, it's okay, I'm gonna represent you and everything, like that just felt, it's like, this dude like murdered a bunch of people in Harlem, and now you're just like, oh, he's changed, he didn't mean to you know,
which plays, you know, we talked about it, Griff. I think that this might be a play, man. I think he might just put it up being tongue in cheek with Jen right now, just because he does want that opportunity to create havoc on the streets. We'll see, man, because I totally agree with you, Griff, and we've talked about it too, Amanda, as far as, you know, how I feel about Doctor Strange and him and Spider-Man being outwitted and out bested by Spider-Man because of it was Spider-Man's film, and you know, it's many examples of that in the MCU where characters have to kind of take a back seat because they have to fit within the narrative. But we'll see, man. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of my skepticism comes from how it is handled next episode, you know, obviously without giving anything away. I think there's like something to be made or there's a point to be made about like, oh, he's trying to play the victim, like a lot of like you know, men in the workplace who are like you know, oh, it wasn't me, I didn't do anything, it was that they forced me to do something or whatnot. Like they're like, I see the kind of commentary they're trying to make here, but with where things go next week, it just like, it doesn't work at all for me, and they lost whatever interesting idea or commentary that they had, you know. It's like,
I don't know what it is. You guys are
dude, I'm not trying to be like I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer, but I think next week's episode is like genuinely one of the worst episodes of Disney Plus television I've ever watched.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's trash. It's so bad.
I can't wait for everyone to watch it. I'm so excited.
I'm here for it, man. I want to see what can Marvel do as far as this low point. But We'll see, Griff. And man, again, I know you got your video coming pretty soon for everyone to see how you're feeling about the show thus far. And of course, man, you're more than welcome to come back in the future. Maybe episodes 5 through 9, Griff, when we get some Matt Murdock in the building. We get a little bit more Jen's backstory and explore. Maybe he'll do a complete 180 on you, man.
How optimistic of you to think that I'm going to watch past episode 4.
Oh, damn.
No. I'm just kidding. I have to see it through, right? I have to at least see my boy Matt Murdock show up, right? Like, I can't just like jump ship, even if they're going to butcher him. But you know.
Listen, man, we're hopeful, Griff. I'm hopeful that this show can turn around.
I don't even want to.
I'm hopeful, man. But Griff, man, I can't thank you enough for showing up, man, stopping by, sharing your thoughts on this, man.
Thanks for having me.
While I have you, man, why don't you let the people know where they can find you? And again, I know you got a video coming for the people pretty soon. Why don't you let them know where they can find you?
Yeah. Oh, that's very kind of you to plug me while I'm in my car, just like randomly. No, I do. I have a video on the first 4 episodes of She-Hulk dropping tomorrow. So just anyone who's going to watch that, I will dive into like specific spoilers for like episodes 1 through 4. So like if you don't want episodes 3 and 4 spoiled for you, not that there's really anything to spoil, if I'm being quite honest. You know, maybe hold off, but that is that. Yeah, I have that dropping tomorrow. But yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been great. I appreciate you letting me come on here and rant.
You're always welcome. I know we like some other shows, man. House of the Dragon, man. Like I said, we were able to join us on Sunday, but maybe in the future, man, you can hop on and talk some House of the Dragon.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome,
for
man.
Sure.
Well, Griff, man, you stay safe out there. Keep making those incredible videos, man. And I hope to see you soon, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
All right, man.
Bye, Griff.
Amanda, we have broke it down. I don't know if it can be broken down any further. I think we have talked about our pros and our cons, our hopefulness of the series, and everything in between. And I'm so thankful for Caitlin, our other special guests that joined in, Justin, of course, Griffin. And we're going to wrap it up because I know my boy Brandon from Just My Opinion Reviews, he's going to be going live at 6. And then E-Man Movie Reviews going live at 7. And then there's a bunch of other great content creators. I know you guys will be going live later. You guys are going live tonight at Geek Suit Up as well.
Yeah, 9, yeah.
9. So listen, you guys have back content with She-Hulk stuff. So before we head out, man, I do want to, I did send out like a little bird call for people out there to send us in maybe some questions that we can answer before we head out. And before we do, let me bring it up here. So, guys, if you ever want to drop a question in for me and Amanda or any of our other guests that we have on in the future, I'm going to be putting a post up either the day of the show, the release, or the day before. But as you all can see on the screen now, I did post a question for any questions you have for myself or our guests. And just right quick, Amanda, we'll just kind of go through these. Yeah. First question was random, the post-credit scene was, it was more of a just kind of a funny joke versus something being serious. But the question at hand, I believe, is also I've forgotten all about Abomination, Shang-Chi, this jumping back and forth time. Yeah, we talked about that. So it really wasn't a question, but just more of a statement. The timeline is definitely off. But appreciate you responding to the comment. Natural Bridge, how was a car able to run the Hulk over when the Hulk has been shown to Amanda, would you like to take on that question as far as and this is referring to episode 1 when Jen was able to push the Hulk with her Jeep or his Jeep, and we know, and I saw a lot of people meme this, that this man was able to stop a Jatari spaceship with a fist, but he wasn't able to stop a Jeep. Amanda, any thoughts on that? Was he just being a nice cousin and didn't want to walk out in front of his cousin?
Yeah, honestly, in context of the show, like I know that we could read into it that way, but I don't think he would even like want to hurt her or stop her, because like that would definitely like that amount of impact, like she would not, she would survive it. But at the same time, it's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But again, like I didn't get a chance to say it before, but like they really boxed it into like this sitcom type of feel that like the things that we're normally seeing in movies, they're not going to happen in the sitcom. So I think that it's, given what comes next, like, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
I agree 100% with everything you just said there. And shout out to Natural Bridge with the question. Nyla Coleman, will She-Hulk be added to any of the upcoming Marvel movies? I think so. Amanda, do you think it's safe to assume that we're going to see more She-Hulk? And I think the answer is yes, but when is the next time you think we'll see Jennifer Walters in the MCU after her show?
It could be Thunderbolts, lawyer-wise,
Career-wise,
obviously.
mm-hmm.
It could be Echo. I don't know. Could be Daredevil. Like, it's just, I think it's going to be more TV show-wise. And if it's any movie, it would most likely be the Thunderbolts.
I'm thinking of the catalog of films. I think you're right, Amanda.
Yeah.
That would make sense with the Thunderbolts connection there. But that's 2 years, 2024. I think we're going to see her before that. And I think the perfect place would be an Ant-Man cameo. And I say that because from what I've heard from Ant-Man, it seems like he's gonna, he has his own book now. He's, kind of putting the suit aside, but I think there's going to be some people that might need a lawyer, because I hear apparently Cassie has been getting in trouble. She's and this is based on Comic-Con footage that she goes to jail. So I don't know, maybe someone can help her get out of jail, and Jen being a lawyer and helping out Ant-Man, a fellow Avenger. So maybe Ant-Man Quantumanium would be a spot we can see her in the films. But as far as the shows go, I think you're right on the money as far as next time we see her.
Yeah.
It's Sierra saying, shout me out. Well, shout out to you. Appreciate you dropping the question there. And her question was, why was Hulk in space? Well, I think we talked about it, Amanda, that it seems like he's off to see if he's a father of another Hulk, maybe, or man with the Grandmaster. Any more thoughts on that, Amanda? Space Hulk?
I think that's the only connection that I can think of, unless he's chilling with like Captain Marvel, which I don't think is going to end up happening.
Him and Nick is in space.
Yeah, or he's gonna go chill, get some scrolls. Like, who knows what's happening? Like, that's a possibility. But I think the whole sun angle is the best option right now.
I agree. And then final two, Matchbox says Wolverine coming. The X-Men are coming, so I expect Wolverine to be a part of that. Sure. And then last one, I don't even want to butcher their name there, but why the F does her hair grow? Well, I think for the sake of like the Hulk, when they grow, everything grows. Not only their body, their limbs, but their hair and their facial hairs and their hair in her head. So I think it's just literally when she hulks out, everything grows on her, including the hair in her head. Am I wrong in thinking that, Amanda?
Yeah, I think I question that too. To be honest, I'm like, why? And I think that's the contrast of her being like really short. Obviously, that she grows into something, so it makes complete sense that her hair is that beautiful, like long,
luscious.
Looks so nice.
I agree. It is very nice. Amanda, this has been awesome. You are always awesome. Shout out to Griff, Caitlin, Justin, our other special guests that's been on the channel here, and to every single one of you all that watched today's live stream and dropped a like, a share, a comment, and all that good stuff. It really means a lot to me, and I really appreciate you all. We're going to be back next week doing the live calls, dropping your questions and answering them on the stream. And hopefully, Amanda, she's so busy. Hopefully, she can join us next week if she has the time. And hopefully, maybe Chris can join us too, and we can have some catch up with the crew. But again, Amanda, it is always a pleasure chopping it up with you, talking to MCU with you, and I can't thank you enough. So I know you got to get ready for another stream and some other content to make, but if you want to let the people know where they can find you and where they can find you and what you got for the people coming soon.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is always a blast. I love being here with you. And obviously when Chris gets back, we can all do this together. Everyone that came on the show, Griff, it's always great to talk to you too. Everyone in the comments, you guys have been stellar. And it's a lot of fun talking about She-Hulk because we have to talk about it. We got to talk about it. You guys can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can check out my website, candidcinema.com, and then my YouTube channel, Candid Cinema. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern over at the Suit Up Geeks channel, we will be breaking down She-Hulk as well, episode 2. We do that every Thursday. And then we also have our House of the Dragon on Sunday. We're covering everything the same. Like it's just too much content, but you guys can find me there. And thanks for having me again.
Of course. And again, Amanda, I thank you. I appreciate you. And hopefully, like I said, we can link up next week and talk about this apparently fantastic episode of She-Hulk.
It's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
I can't wait. But before we get to next week, guys, as far as content on this channel, I dropped my Mike first 5 episodes of the new Mike Tyson show. You guys can check that out. We talked 3,000 Years of Longing earlier in the week, the new Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba film, Breaking, the new John Boyega film. We got that review on the channel now. And tomorrow we got C. I don't know if there's any C fans out there. Jason Momoa's Apple TV Plus season 3 season finale. We'll be dropping episode 1 tomorrow, and we're back on Sunday talking House of Dragons. Which Amanda, Game of Thrones is back. It's back.
It's so good.
I'm loving it so far. I'm so excited to be back in Westeros. But anyway, guys, for myself, Amanda, all the incredible special guests we had on the channel, and more importantly, you watching right now, thank you for the support. And we will catch you guys on the next video. Peace out, everyone.